Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Mordheim, City of the Damned podcast. Today, if you're looking on YouTube, you will see that we are going over the Tomb Guardians warband, which is you'll find on Mordheimer, which is a really useful website. I use that a lot. They have all the scenarios and everything. Really great. Yep. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the choice of warriors. I'm just going to be quickly. So you must have at least 3 models, and you may have a maximum of 15 models. So the leader of your warband is a Tomb Lord. Basically, if you've played Warhammer and used or played against Tomb Kings, that's basically your Tomb Priest. Not Tomb Priest, Tomb Prince. You have Lich Priest, Acolytes, which are kind of. I don't see much use in them, but they are your guys that are not Lich Priests. They can't cast spells or anything, but they basically have a Lich Priest stats. So those are your choice of heroes. You have Skeleton Warriors, which are your base really crappy guys. Tomb Guards, which are actually pretty good. And then you have Giant Scorpions or Tomb Scorpions, which are okay. So the first thing that we're going to go over is the special rules. So undead cause fear, you can see why. They're immune to psychology and never leave combat, also pretty obvious why that happens. All undead warriors treat stunned as knocked down, so if they're taken out of combat action, whatever you want to call it, and your opponent rolls a 3 or a 4, instead of taking 2 turns to get up, they stand up in your turn. So undead may not run, but they can charge. That does annoy me, and I don't particularly see why, but it makes sense keeping with the Warhammer normal universe, I suppose. So they're immune to poison, also pretty obvious. Skeletons are not alive, thus they never gain experience. What our group likes to play is they gain experience at half the rate of normal models, as like the Tomb Lord, they're remembering new skills rather than gaining them. Or at least if you don't want to play normal Tomb Warriors, your Tomb Guardians could gain experience. Also to note, Lich Priests, Acolytes, and Tomb Lords gain experience normally. They're flammable. The Tomb Lord takes double the number of wounds caused by flaming weapons. Do not drink. They do not need food or water, and so you don't need to pay upkeep. And however, any living models that accompany them, so the Tomb Scorpions or Giant Scorpions or whatever you want to call it, well, you still don't have to pay their upkeep because they don't need to drink. And if you're using the if you're playing in their setting, they roll a double. They roll an extra dice in the exploration phase. Now to the equipment. The equipment that they may take, so undead, which is everything but the Lich Priest and Acolytes. For close combat, they get a free dagger and they pay 2 GC for a second one. That's everything. They have the same as most warbands, except they have 2 shooting weapons different and a special staff. So they have a mace at 3 GC, an axe at 5 GC, a halberd at 10 GC, a morning star at 10 GC, a sword at 10 GC, a spear at 10 GC, a flail at 15 GC, and a 2-handed weapon at 15 GC. So for the armor, they have a pretty limited choice. Shield 5 GC, light armor 20 GC. Bow 10 GC, Nekikar and Javelin 10 GC, Asp arrows 10 GC. So everything is the same. Nekikar and Javelins, their strength as user, range 8, but you get +1 to hit with them. Let me find the Asp arrows page. Asp arrows. So, they're just additional piece of equipment that you can take, and it gives you +1 to hit. Lich Priests can get a free dagger and then 2 GC for a second one. Mace, 3 GC. Staff, 3 GC. Sword, 10 GC. Morning Staff, 15 GC. And a Serpent Staff, 30 GC. So what a Serpent Staff does, all it does, if I can find the page, so they can turn it into a serpent. And it gives them a free weapon skill 4, strength 4 attack at the start of combat. Lich Priests cannot have ranged weapons, nor can they have armor. So now on to the actual models. So the stat line of your first hero being the Tomb Lord, which you must take. He has movement 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, wounds 3, initiative 3, attacks 2, and leadership 8. His special rules are: the Tomb Lord is the warband's leader and follows all rules for leaders. That's everyone. And he's undead, of course, and he follows all rules for them. There's going to be a lot of that. So now your next hero is Lich Priests. They have movement 4, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 3, attacks 1, and leadership 7. They're undead and follow rules for that. There's going to everything here besides one official model follows all rules for undead, so I won't repeat that. He's a wizard. He uses the Lich Priest scrolls in the Lich Priest section. Heroes, your acolytes, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they have exactly the same stats as your Lich Priests, and yep. Skeleton Warriors are move 4, weapon skill 2, strength 2, strength 3, movement 4, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 2, attacks 1, leadership 5. Tomb Guardians are slightly better. I think they don't cost. I don't have the costs of GC. So the Tomb Lord, I'll just go over in how much it costs are higher. So 150 gold crowns for the Tomb Lord, 55 for the Lich Priest, 20 for the Acolytes, 20 per Skeleton Warrior, 2 per Tomb Guardian, 30 per Tomb Guardian, 15 per Tomb Scorpion. So Tomb Guardians are movment 4, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 2, strength 4, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 3, attacks 1, leadership 5, and they're undead. Tomb Scorpions, so they're movement 5, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill, they can't shoot, strength 2, toughness 2, wounds 1, initiative 4, attacks 1, and leadership 4. They are living models, and are affected by psychology, but you don't need to pay upkeep for them. Scorpions gain experience / if you're using our set of house rules, which I will put on our website when we get one, which is the next thing that I'm going to work on after this. So they gain experience half the rate, but roll on the Animal Instincts advanced chart and pick skills from there. Scorpion's attacks count as being coded in Black Lotus. So they've got a decent list. The thing that lets you down is initiative 2, not very high weapon skill, and the fact that they can't gain experience and they can't run. That really hurts the ability, but they are fairly cheap, which does help out. If using our set of rules, which you don't have to, they're our set of rules, they might not suit what you're playing, but they suit what we are playing. So they need Tomb Guardians would gain experience easily. Skeleton Warriors would gain it more slowly. But they introduce a new skill, which is Drive Chariot, and it's to charge into combat on a chariot, they must have the Drive Chariot skill. Normally, Tomb Lords cannot take that skill, but that's a little ridiculous because you want your Tomb Lord riding a chariot, or you might want your Tomb Lord riding a chariot. So I reckon he should be able to take that skill. Gone over special equipment. The chariot costs a crap ton of money, but it does some pretty awesome stuff and gives you 2 additional horse attacks, which aren't bad. So they give you it gives you additional magic items. So you can buy a Nehikaran map, which functions like a Mordheim map. Nomad robes, which protect you from black weather. So if it's raining, the black powder weapons don't get wasted. They only get wasted on the roll of a 1. As hot as Hades, so you only suffer -1 weapon skill and BS instead of the minus that normally occurs, and you only require the normal amount of water. Hot, you don't suffer penalties, and Dust Storm, unfortunately, has no effect. The Venom Ring is immune to all poisons. Scorpion Ring gives you a Tomb Scorpion at the start of the battle. Magic Gourd gives you 1d3 additional units of water at the end of every game. Snake Charmer Flute, sacrifice an action. Serpent within 6 inches of him may not move or attack in their subsequent turn. And that is about it. I'll go over my warband really quickly. I went over it in my last episode, but if you didn't watch that, and this will probably be more detail and what I find useful and why I use it. So I don't take a Lich Priest. I only have 1 hero, which is a Tomb Lord. He's equipped with a dagger, a shield, light armor, spear, and Nehikaran javelin. The spear and light armor and shield to give him extra bonuses, and the Nehikaran javelin, because of its strength 5, it's wounding a lot of things on 2, and it's hitting at ballistic skill 4, which is fairly decent. His skills are Step Aside, Resilient, and Mighty Blow. The reason I chose Step Aside is for the combat attacks, Resilient for -1 strength, so most things are wounding him on at least 6s. And Mighty Blow, I believe that gives you +1 toughness, +1 strength to hit in the turn you charge, or something like that. I can't exactly remember what it does. But the additional stats that I rolled up, all I rolled up were his profile is movement 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 4, initiative 3, attacks 3, leadership 9. Now I got really good rolls on my charts, taking him up to, what is it? Taking him up to strength 5, which really helps for both combat and for his throwing attack. The additional wound really helps. The additional attack also really helps. And the leadership is good for route tests because it makes it even less hard for him to run away. I have taken the Max Tomb Guard. They are equipped with light armor, double-handed weapons, and dagger. Everything in my army has a dagger because they're free. Why wouldn't you not take them? So, or the reason I chose double-handed weapon is because I reckon it looks awesome and it takes their strength up to a whopping 6. But unfortunately, they trade that out for striking last. But most of the time, they'll be going at the same time, if not last. So I take what I usually do is run 2 normal guys so that they're at least partly distracted by the normal guys, so I get at least one attack in. I have 3 Tomb Scorpions, I just like them. There's nothing special about them. They're fairly good for as distractions. So my skeleton warriors, I have 4 of them with bows. I find that the skeleton warriors, they kind of function as a distraction. Like in the last game, they killed a whopping 1 model, which wasn't very impressive, but they drew all of my opponent's bow fire for the game, pretty much, except for one guy who was fighting my main force. And then I have 2 other skeleton warriors with shields, daggers, and spears. I had spare gold and wanted to have some additional close combat support, even though I don't really need it because my Tomb Lord is fairly amazing for fairly amazing for what he does. But now I'm gonna go on. I thought what would be really cool is I would like every warband to have a big model. So like mercenaries would be able to take an ogre, chaos would be able to take a spawn, a dragon ogre, something like that. So for the tomb guardians, I believe they're called. Tomb guardians is the warband type. They should be able to take the Ubashati. So you can comment below, tell me what you'd change with the stats, what additional rules would give him, what equipment he'd be able to take. But for me, what I'm thinking he should do is movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill nothing, or possibly 2 because the new models came out with them with the ability to shoot bows. So, and I just remembered that as I started the podcast. So he might be able to shoot a giant bow, which would be pretty cool. He's strength 6. He's only toughness 4, but toughness 4 is higher than most things. You can suggest changes in that. The strength and toughness I'm not so sure on. I'd have weapon skill 3. Not weapon skill 3. Wounds 3. That you could also, I might reduce to 2, or I might think about reducing to 2 or increasing to 4. It's all up to your personal preference. Initiative 2, attacks 3, leadership 4. The initiative and attacks, I'm fairly solid on what I want. Then he'd have the construct special rule, which would give him a 4 or 5 plus save. He's immune to psychology, you don't need to pay upkeep, and he's not affected by poison. That to me is a fairly solid model, but you could change what you want. If there's something else you'd like to add, send it to me via Facebook message, and we will get it all sorted, and it'll be awesome. But that is all the time I have, and I've covered everything. The next warband I'll do is, I'm pretty sure I want to cover the mercenaries, which is the simplest warband to play. Then I will go on to more complicated ones. But thank you guys for watching. Like the video, it really helps out. And